We'll stand and salute the flag, please. Take your time. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize for my voice. I sent the minutes out to everyone, and I tried to put it in an older format, so I hope everybody was able to open it. Can I have a motion to either accept the minutes as read or to read the minutes as stated?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Okay. And Jerry? Can I have a second? No?
Third.
All in favor?
Fourth. You're a little slow, Alex.
Okay.
You're a little slow.
So we'll give the floor to Mr. Chase on, update of the fees or finances or whatever. We'll start with the agenda, okay? And then we can go down, and then I know that he emailed the board on a question on Hicks Bridge, and so we can put that under other, or it's listed at Hicks Bridge, so, okay.
Right, so let's start with some numbers.
Okay, good.
This is hot off the presses from the Treasurer's office this afternoon. The boat ramp to date, this is calendar, this is not fiscal, $4,042. Marine dock and slip, $119,796. The marine rentals and mooring fees, $3,000.
Is that for town moorings? 3,000?
Yeah, so we got 5 at $600
Okay, thanks.
out of 9. The private mooring permits are at $6,050 even, and the town wharfage, $1,590. And one little addendum to that, we currently have $5,918 in checks that will be deposited on Wednesday.
Okay. Now,
Those are,
the town wharf, I didn't get that number.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
That
I
was-
couldn't write fast enough.
I'm sorry, $1,590.
Okay, and so there's 5,000 roughly checks to be deposited.
Almost 6, yeah. And that number keeps increasing because we have so many late filers that are
Yeah.
coming in.
Now,
I want to talk about that at some point.
okay, you might as well talk about that now. If people that are still owing,
Yeah.
okay,
So what's happened, when we took over, we had to play catch up with all of the applications. We literally had a stack 3 feet high.
okay, yeah.
And the man hours, or the labor hours, if you will, required to do that, by my estimation, is somewhere around 300. Now, I don't know what hourly rate you want to put to that. Call it 20. That's still $6,000 that comes back out from the budget. In other words, the processing expense is substantial.
Yes,
In addition to that, we have asked them to submit their applications by June 1st. And still, today, they're still walking up, knocking on the door with their application, and they want it serviced now. So they get a little ribbing that, you might have a late fee, because we don't have a late fee. But I suspect if we apply the late fee to all of this, it would at least offset the expense of processing all these paper applications.
Have you tagged boats yet?
No, we've got so far behind that it's just,
Yeah,
we can't yet.
yeah. I know in the past, they would go around to the slips and
Yeah, usually
and
focus
moorings
on-
and, at least in Area B,
Yeah, I did that with Jim Perry last summer.
Yeah, yeah,
And I want to say it was probably late July when we really
Yeah,
got started
yeah.
on that. But obviously, we want everyone to have a chance to get it. We finally got caught up just about the 4th of July. You know, the pile went down to 0, and then we went to the post office, and the pile went back up again. So it's an ongoing process to keep these guys processed.
so,
Where did the money come from last year? I mean, that's part of the budget, isn't it, processing the application?
Yeah, I mean, it's worked into the salary of the department head and the deputy department head, because it's basically, it was Chris and Gary processing, now it's Rick Smith and myself processing it, so,
Apples and apples.
yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, that, we bring up another note now. Gary has retired, so has there been any talk in posting that position, or,
Oh, no, Rick Smith has filled that position.
okay,
Yeah, he was approved on, I forget the date already, just last week, the last select board. meeting,
Okay,
he was
all right.
approved. So he's a couple, 3 days into it, but prior to that, he was working as a assistant harbor master as needed, but he still jumped in.
okay,
you know,
so
the process.
he's just going from part-time to the full-time
full-time,
position?
yes.
Okay.
So, I really think that if we go nowhere else into next year, and there's plenty of time to talk about next year, there's gotta be some kind of a late fee for this, because we can't be processing these applications all summer long. There are too many other things for us to do, like no-weight buoys and the private buoys that seem to be requiring a lot of time and maintenance. So, I don't know where that fee goes, Mr. Chair, but I think it would be something that we need to talk about going forward.
So have you thought about online?
Oh, we absolutely have. No, it's, that is, I would say after the season is over, we're already thinking about it and trying to gather some information when we can. But I think just like when you get your beach pass, you pay your excise tax online, we want to do something like that, whether it's with city systems or someone else that can provide that service. We need the automation. I mean, it's a pretty small staff.
That makes sense. I mean, it's so easy to do a beach pass online. I mean, you get, I got a response in like a few days, and then, you know, I know that you mentioned that you were still waiting, but
I had a couple.
I did it right afterwards, and boom.
But I did get mine eventually.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you want to discuss that, a late fee? I mean,
Oh, the late
I
fee?
think it's a good idea.
Well, you know, John, if I could just throw some numbers at all of you for your consideration, to give you a sense of where Westport is in relation to Dartmouth, Fairhaven, Mattapoisett, and Marion. The point I'm going to try to make here, and I think it's a pretty easy point, is that from a fee structure point of view, we are way behind everybody else. Let me just read some numbers for you, for your consideration. So on the commercial mooring side of things, I'll go from Marion and we'll work down the coast. Marion charges $250 for a commercial mooring. Mattapoisett charges $85, but there's a $165 sticker fee, and I can't say I really understand all of that. Fairhaven charges $150. Dartmouth charges $180. Do you know what we charge here in Westport? $60.
What's a commercial is like trips?
Yeah, in any commercial. So if you look at the average of that, clearly $60 is way below the curve.
Bargain.
It's a bargain, isn't it? Now, private moorings, let's talk about private moorings for a second. Marion gets $115 for a private mooring. Mattapoisett gets $75. Fairhaven gets $50, and Dartmouth gets $90. Do you know what we charge?
25?
$25. I mean,
Now, the
tough to
number
get.
of, I mean, the number of moorings in those towns, I mean, it's different from all, but I mean.
It is, yeah.
I mean, Area B is one thing, but I mean, you've got East River, West River. I mean,
Well, I think
the total number of moorings is gonna
yeah,
be vast.
Fairhaven's commercial, maybe 80, and the private might be 250, somewhere in that ballpark. But yeah, I mean, every port is different, right? I mean, every port is laid out differently. I think what it comes down to, at least in my mind, is what is the value of a private mooring in a place like Westport? I mean, Marion's a beautiful harbor, so is Mattapoisett, so is Dartmouth, but certainly so is Westport. So if I have a private mooring in a beautiful place like this, I think I should pay for it.
Okay, so on top of that, we have a waterways fee per foot.
I'll get to those too.
Okay, so I mean, I wanted.
Those all vary
Yeah.
as well. But just one number for you to kind of chew on. If you average those numbers out, all of the private mooring fees throughout those 5 ports, it comes to $82.50. And we're charging $25. If you take out Marion, which is kind of the outlier, it's still $71.60 for a private mooring. On average, between Westport, Fairhaven, Mattapoisett, and Dartmouth. I think it's fair to ask, why aren't we at that level? So let's talk about the waterways fees for a minute. We charge $6 a foot for a resident, and we charge $6 a foot for a non-resident. Dartmouth charges $5 a foot for a resident and $11 for a non-resident. And now, I don't know what the split is here in Westport or anywhere else for that matter, but certainly there's some wiggle room there. Fairhaven charges $2 a foot for a resident and $6 for a non-resident. Mattapoisett is interesting. They charge $2.50 a foot for a resident and $6 for a non-resident, but they have a minimum size of 25 feet. So if you got a 16-foot Boston whaler, you're paying the the 25-foot rate. So I thought that one was kind of interesting. And Marion is 8 and 8, but the non-resident for Marion includes a $100 privilege fee, as they call it. So the point I'm trying to make, gentlemen, is that where we are on a fee structure point of view is way out of whack. And I think we need to get back to at least some consensus for what the average is for all of these fees. Because this is not only does it make Westport a cheap place to come, it also keeps my budget really on the low end when we could use a little bit of help with things like the shack, which is in tough shape right now. So I guess all I'm saying is we need to consider what these rates should be going forward.
Year over year, were we negative, even, or did we have some left over last year?
I couldn't answer that one, Alex. I haven't looked back, I'm just trying to look forward.
I understand, but I mean, a little bit, it speaks to how much, I think 25 is probably a little light, but how much money we need or whether we need it would have some influence on how much you wanted to upcharge.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying we should come in there and gouge just because we can. So your point is well taken. You have to justify what these rate increases will be. The only thing I'm trying to say is that we are way below the curve on all of this, and we need to get it straight.
So again, the commercial moorings now are $60.
And we had to get that part in before you showed up.
Okay, and then the
We'll have plenty to
range,
say, don't worry.
the range from, the harbors were anywhere from 250 to 85 on the harbors. And along with, I think we went through waterways fees again, for resident and non-resident a couple of years ago. And do you remember that
We
discussion?
had an issue with the non-resident thing. Somebody brought us to court, threatened
I
us.
mean, yeah, they sued us.
And,
Because you try to
Moorings.
apply, try to apply a
They're
different
trying
to
to
a
non-resident.
non-resident.
Resident, non-resident,
Well,
more.
how, all these other towns are doing.
yeah, I know, it's kind of interesting.
But I don't think, I mean, it must be the way they're wording it, okay? Because it can't, I don't think you can apply it to a mooring. I think you have, it might be that, you know, I believe the numbers, but
Was
it
it
has to be the way in which it's
Washington?
worded. So we'll
Right,
have,
I
think it was,
maybe we'll
yeah.
have to investigate
Yeah.
that.
It may come down to, how do you define a resident?
Plus you've got town moorings. In Dartmouth, it happened, I remember when they split the fees, they went resident, non-resident. They had a couple lawsuits over there, and both times they lost, you know, because they were town moorings. And so, you know, they were able to do that, and they had precedent from other harbors that they had followed. But with privately held moorings, you know, there should be a different structure on that as well too. And that's the problem with Westport. They've got some town moorings, but mostly private moorings or commercial moorings, you know. So, yeah, I mean, our fees were always low, and you know, that's always been a problem. And you know, and a draw. You know, I mean, some people, you know, want to be in Westport. No, but it's not always about the money as well. You know, some people would rather be in Dartmouth. Easier to get to Cuddyunk and whatever. So,
No, the whole point I was trying to make, Carl, before you walked in, I got information from Marion Mattapoisett, Fairhaven, Dartmouth.
yep.
And just averaged them out and then compared what we have here. And the point that was very easily made was that we are way behind everyone else.
Yeah, that's been pretty historic, actually. You know, so
Yeah.
you know.
And the difference would be in the waterways fee where you had resident and non-resident. But I think we have to investigate that more. I mean, I think if we're going forward to adjust fees, you have to look at the one set of fees first, like the waterways, and try and solve that problem for town residents or non-residents. And maybe we have to run it by the town council.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely would. Yeah, definitely
Okay.
would. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and look at how other towns, you know, like Dartmouth, you know, the other towns you mentioned are doing it, and the specific wording.
Do you have any idea how many non-residents have?
I mean,
approached the board or-
that's the big thing. I have no idea.
Well, I can certainly get you those numbers. That just has not been something we can get to over the 4th of July.
Yeah, this will, it's something that'll have to be done probably just before Christmas, I think, before it gets put on the agenda for the town warrant. So we've got time actually to decide.
Yeah, I mean,
Which way we're going.
they're set for this year, so it's.
Yeah, we're not gonna change it.
Next year and the following years
Not gonna
after
be
that.
changing,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It just, I think we'll need like a total number of the commercial moorings in the harbor and a total number of private moorings, okay? And then we can make the comparison to other harbors.
Right.
Okay, that would be the first thing.
Right.
And then we have those facts from other harbors, the total commercial and you know, non-commercial. Then
Right,
we
right.
can see what their fee structure is and maybe come up with an adjustment in the future for the mooring fees. Okay.
How do you compare the harbors?
Well, I just called the,
No, not by number, but
by geography,
yeah, and responsibility and budget and,
well, that's probably a rabbit hole right there, Alex. A lot to that.
mixed with stew. I was just curious.
Well, I mean,
I would think
you'll get-
Dartmouth is kind of a little bit comparable to Westport in terms of the numbers of boats going in and out and the traffic. Aaron, maybe not so much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, to me,
with any fee raise, you're gonna get some pushback on it, so.
oh, guaranteed.
And, you know, and keep in mind that, you know, you gotta, what services do the other harbors have to offer? What do they have for staffing, what, you know, so, like you said, Bill, there's a lot to compare there, and, you know, they may be, more expensive, but they may offer something else in there that, you know, that people don't mind paying for, you know?
Well, I didn't really come to offer a solution. What I came to bring some awareness to
Yeah.
this.
We don't have enough money, but, I mean, you gotta,
However this falls down or comes into place is
Yeah.
kind of something we're all gonna have to
Yeah.
work out, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Next.
so I'm just trying to catch up on my note. We're gonna ask number of private moorings, number of commercial moorings, and resident and non-resident.
will you have those numbers by the end of this year, you think, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Resident,
Okay, so,
non-resident.
yeah.
And the same with docks, right?
I mean, it would be dock and
fees,
slip,
yeah.
yes, dock and slip, resident and non-resident. Waterways,
I would say probably by October I could get.
Yeah, okay, all right. Look ahead.
Oh, let me just, Marion is funny. They are not shy
Nice.
with their fees. Let me just run some of these by you, probably for your humor.
Marion, yeah.
So the personal moorings are $115 plus $8 a foot. The commercial is $250 plus $8, like I mentioned before. They have a non-resident privilege permit. Just non-resident pays $100 more, that's all there is to it. Their late payment fee is $100. Now, that would get my attention. That would get my attention. $30 is enough. 100 says you better get it in on time.
And it's Marion, so,
Yeah, it's Marion, yes. I'm just bringing this up because they're the outlier.
yeah.
And all the dinghy, rack fees, you name it, it goes on and on and on. But that additional privilege permit of $100 I found a little humorous. What do we want to talk about next, Mr. Chair?
pump out program, maintenance and staffing, whatever.
Okay, let's talk about pump outs. What Chris and Gary had going on that worked well for them was basically to just sign people up at the beginning of the season, and they would come automatically if there was a piece of tape on the pump out plug and take care of it. I cannot, well, I've got 5 new guys. They don't know the ins and outs of all the docks and slips as Chris and Gary did. For me to give them 3 sheets of paper with about 300 boats on it and say, go out and find all the plugs that have tape on them, it'd be like sending them out for an Easter egg hunt. So what I have done is to ask people to send us an email notifying us that we need a pump out, and we grab 8 or 10 at a time and we go get them. That's how it has worked so far. But when you consider the staffing that we have, which is basically myself and Rick full-time, Monday through Friday, on the weekends we have all kinds of help with Andrew and with Kevin and with Jim. I think the best way to do this going forward is to set aside the time period on Saturday for us to come out and pump anybody who needs it. Chris and Gary did Mondays, that was their pump out day, and they got it all done on Monday. I think with some organization, in other words, if I send them out with a list of all these boats and their locations, they're gonna get out there, they're gonna find them and get the job done. I don't see how we can apply Chris and Gary's system to what we're trying to accomplish right now.
Or is it different?
Well, it's different in that,
People, just the personnel, right?
but it's just,
Well,
it's just an email. All I'm saying to everyone is, send us an email, we'll come take care of you. As opposed to an automatic sewage service.
Oh, you mean so they have to email every week,
Whatever they
or
need.
every 2 weeks, or whatever it is?
Yeah, on Yeah, so it's basically an on-demand thing. So they send you an email this week, and you're
Send us
you're
an
gonna
email.
propose to pump on Saturdays, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, Saturdays, because we have most of our staff in on Saturdays.
Most in staffing, okay.
So otherwise, if it's Monday, it's just Rick and I, and we have other things to do as well.
It's also a day when people tend to use their boats, the weekend.
Well, that's why, okay, that's why,
I mean, it's kind of setting up a conflict, because people want to go away for the weekend and get pumped out on Monday. That would make sense. Not going away for the weekend
makes sense for them.
doesn't make sense for you, but it doesn't make sense for them.
So I kept my last sailboat in Fairhaven for almost 3 years. This is what Fairhaven does. So if you want to pump out in Fairhaven, they're going to come Saturdays, Sundays between 9 and 1. And if you want them to pump you out, you're going to call them on Channel 9. And they're going to pull up alongside, they're going to hand you a hose. I'm not saying we need to do that. I'm just using them as an example
Okay.
that they do work on weekends. And I think they found it successful because people actually were on their boats. So you don't have to go
So
searching.
you don't have
around.
to, yeah, you're not looking for the deck pump out or whatever.
Right. So I mean, that is one example. I have all the other towns here. Most of them are emails. Dartmouth has a pump out hotline. Marion has a phone and an email address to request pump out. So it's not out of the realm of normalcy here to simply request an email and let us come get you when it's sensible. But this is the actual list. This is what we've done so far, starting on the 8th, which was, well, we did a couple of days prior to that, but they weren't very good. So far, we've pumped about 1,600 gallons of raw sewage. We filled up the green tank 2/3 the first time. It was about a third full when we took over. And we just topped it off again this morning, so it's gonna get pumped out again tomorrow.
Any comments? I mean,
Is there any reason?
obviously, there's gonna be changes.
Right, you know, I mean, you know, yeah, one of the biggest complaint I've heard so far is about the pump out, you know.
What specific?
Well, the reason it's done on Mondays is because people aren't there. You know, the pump out can be quite odoriferous if you've got people sitting in the cockpits, on, you know, having breakfast or lunch or whatever, or just sitting around, you know.
I think it
And
feels for me.
you know, it's just bad, you know. And so that's why it was done on Mondays, because most boaters aren't there, they can go around and, you know, and pump them out. You know, the email thing, people will get used to that, but what about transients, people that come in and pick up a mooring for the night, you know, or whatever? How would they?
I had a couple that called on VHF, and I just said, send me an email, we'll put you on the list. Now, where is the email? The town website?
Yeah, people don't know about the email thing yet. I mean, it's new, it hasn't been posted,
Yeah,
so.
there's gonna be a
Who
link.
do I email, where do I go? My problem is that, you know, I think pump out's gotta be given priority. Because if you come in with a boat, with 3 kids on board,
And it's full.
and it's full, you know where it's gonna end up.
Well, we're forgetting one little fact here. You've got a pump out facility right on the fuel dock.
Right.
So they don't necessarily need us. They
And right
can
now,
go to your fuel.
it's full, because you guys haven't come and emptied the tank, which is another thing I think that you need to establish a routine on,
Already
because,
have, so
you know.
if you look right
Right,
there.
but you know,
But,
either way, if you pump or if we pump, Bill, we're gonna have to be
That's
emptying tanks, you know?
That's you.
What's that?
I pumped it on the 8th of July.
Yep. A lot of, what I'm saying is, if you guys aren't gonna be pumping on a regular basis to people when they call in, then they're gonna come to the dock, which is fine, that's why it's there. But you have to be aware that our tank is full, which it is right now. And so we need to get that full, we need to get that emptied. So to better work with what you're trying to do, you might want to establish coming over, you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mondays and Wednesdays or something, just to keep that tank emptied, because,
Glenn was part-time, right? I mean, there's no reason you should be doing it on the weekend. Get a part-time person to do that job on a Monday, or, and keep the
yeah,
program.
yeah.
Well, you know, I would agree, Alex, if this was April, we could probably find somebody.
Yeah.
But we jumped in July.
Well,
This is
we have
a,
bandwidth for a year.
this is gonna be a difficult transitional year. I mean, let's face it, you know, you started in July and, you know, you're gonna have people, a lot of people that are unaware. I'm just saying that, you know, when you're traveling on a boat, which you've done, you know, the first thing you look at when you get into port is, you know, people on board you wanna get emptied. So if there is a routine established, or, you know, like I said, our dock is there, which is fine, people can, you know, and a lot of people, they can do it, that thing's always on, so they can come up even after hours and they can pump out, most people have done it. But then I think we need to establish that tank that we have up there, just, you know, even if it's
Needs to
not
be
chock
empty.
full, we gotta keep that empty, because it's gonna help what you're trying to do, Bill, you know.
I don't disagree with any of that,
Yeah,
Carl.
you know.
I came over when Josh sent me a message
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
it's full, you need to come over.
Right, right.
I haven't heard from him
Right.
since. I just saw him this morning because he hauled out the.
Yeah, yeah. He said he sent you an email this afternoon because I asked one of the kids if we wanted to pump out, and they said, the tank's full. I'm like, oh, I mean, a lot of people may coming in because, you know, it's a new year, it's a new regime, so whatever's happening, they can always come to the gas dock and pump out, and that's fine. You know, we encourage that, which is gonna help you out this year because you don't have the people or the schedule to work like it did last year, the last how many years, and people are used to that.
All right,
you know?
let me stop you there, Carl. How did it work last year? Somebody, because
The
my
day that you-
understanding, watching Chris and Gary, was it was just Monday. Did they do more than Monday?
They did Monday, and they would do occasionally during the busy part of the season, transient boats that would come in, you know, and, you know, we try to get them into the dock. Once, you know, they get established on the mooring and everything's all set, you know, well, they don't want to come to the dock, but that's it. So they would do occasionally that. But Monday was the day that they would pump the boats out, and everyone got used to that. So they would, you know, at the dock, you can use the facilities on shore, so that's not an issue. But, and also the fact that the people aren't there on Mondays, so majority, and, you know, because it can get pretty smelly in there, so, and I'm just saying, that's one of the big reasons why they did the Monday thing, you know?
I mean, I thought originally the CVA grant, we had to specify
Yeah.
certain days
Right,
or a certain procedure.
Right.
So I don't know,
right.
I don't remember it offhand.
I used to write that up with Richie when it first started and all, because is there a,
Because
they look
I
for a
don't
certain
want
amount
a chance
of
to
effluent
lose
every
those
year.
funds.
Right, I mean, right, because there's a lot of money in
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of money in the CVA.
You know, so the more you pump, the more they're gonna be interested in
Totally
supplying
get that.
pump out boats. So what I'm saying is that you gotta keep the pump out program going, and like I said, it's gonna count on how many gallons we pump out of the river, because obviously they're saying, hey, these people are on top of it, they're gonna be pumping, they need a new boat, Westport, okay, whatever, or new, you know, something, a new pump or whatever, they're on the ball, they need it, so that's how it's always worked in the past, so.
And first, if you're not on top of it, then people will do other things that we don't want them to do.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've
You know,
done,
like letting it out into the river.
I've seen it happen at Cuddyonk. People just, you know, I've seen it happen at Cuddyonk and other harbors. You know, you sit there at nighttime and, you know, somebody they're lazy or whatever, you
They
know.
run the macerator over there.
Yeah,
You get hit.
yeah. So the easier we make it, you know, the more, you know, the better program that we have to make sure people are aware of how they can get pumped out. It's gonna benefit Westport in the long run. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if you measure the 12 days since I raised my right hand, we pumped about 1,500 gallons of raw sewage. If that's the metric that you want to use to measure our success or lack thereof, I'll own that one all day long. As far as people's conveniences, you know, how long does it take to send an email? 90 seconds.
Okay, right.
That's
But
not
what they
asking too
can't
much.
do is they can't come in on a Thursday, for example, and send an email in and get pumped out. And that's what, you know, that would sometimes happen during the busy transient, you know, July, And, first couple of weeks of August, really, so it's not a big time.
But it's like garbage, right? People
Right.
basically think garbage should be free. Pump out should be free. So you gotta make it easy.
Well, no, I mean, the good reason to keep it free is,
Yeah.
as soon as people have to pay for it, they're not gonna do it. And I mean, so I guess, bottom line, but what I'm saying is that if we could work out something that keeps our tank down, then I think we can now just say, hey, go to trips, because it's there 24/7.
All right, let's solve that one right now. Carl.
Yeah.
How am I going to know when your tank is full?
Well, what I'm saying is that if you just establish a time versus when it's full, you can come grab it when it's half full. Either coming Tuesday morning, Wednesday afternoon,
yeah.
you're gonna come grab it and empty it, no matter
That's
when it
scheduled.
is. Right,
scheduled.
right before the weekend, right, so that we can take the strain off of you guys,
I don't disagree with that at all, Carl.
So I'm saying we just need a little help with that, that's all, because
That's good.
we don't wanna break anything down.
You guys,
Stay
and you work it out with the marina.
Yeah, that's all, that's all, because it's, like I said, it's not a big deal, and, with everything happening, you want to change how it's done, that you're entitled to do that, the staffing and, starting like the whole problems that we had this year. I think that's gonna be one thing that will help you take some strain off of that part of it, because, getting a holding tank clean with people on board, people love to do it, and we all obviously can count that all towards what CBA is gonna,
The only possible downside of that is on a nice weekend. The gas stock gets pretty populated with people buying gas. And so people who might want to do nothing but pump
they can
out.
wait till the end of the day. I mean, I'm sorry, the gas stock is so long, it's so, we'll help them, but I mean, they have to realize as well too,
Yeah,
And,
they have to wait.
I mean, some people want to come in right away, but.
How about this? Because I'm gonna see Josh tomorrow, anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna go pick up the vote again. Why don't I work it out with him?
Exactly,
Work it out.
Bill, that.
Would you plan to take calls by VHF?
We could, Alex, I think, I don't object to that. I'm just looking for some notification, so I can create this.
So you can make a
Yeah.
plan.
So I can make it, exactly.
But to be able to say, hey, this is a trips pump out is open after hours, whatever, you can go there anytime. We'll take pressure off the harbor masters guys, and they can,
I got to meet all your clients on EDOC, just because of.
Yeah,
There's some characters.
everybody has a lot of good ideas out there too, huh?
Yeah.
I hear them all the time
Got
myself,
more
so.
invitations for dinner and drinks than you can shake a
Oh,
stick.
God, I know, yeah.
So that, I'm good, and I think the plan that you described over in Peyton Aram or whatever, or in Dartmouth, Peyton Aram, Dartmouth, same thing. Maybe going forward for next year, there's a plan, and when the mailings go out, that's, that information's included. Pump
Yeah,
out,
right,
this is the way it's gonna
right,
be, either an email, or certain times of the day, VHF or the transits, and.
Maybe we'll find something else that works better. I mean, it's a learning process,
And
it's a
now we gotta get
transition
through this
year.
year.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think I've been out almost every other day.
yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It was just out
I-
this
I
morning.
can
We did
imagine.
10 boats this morning, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, the man hours that are going to CVA pump out, that's.
Well, at least everybody's having
And that's what
fun.
gets us the grant every year.
You can't be at every boat with beck and call in there,
Yeah, yeah,
Pump. As soon as you get back to the dock, oh, by the way, I heard you pump.
Yeah,
You set
get
your
a list,
schedule up,
yeah, get a list.
but you have to keep the other option open, which is the fuel dock, and that means that we have to make sure that tank is maintained at an empty as possible
Try to look and see
level.
what the CVA requirements are too before we make
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's been a while since I looked at them. I just remember I used to prepare that for Richie every year, and, the CPA,
Yeah.
the tank and the
You
rental,
might
he had a
wanna
whole
look at
system he
that.
put
the
together,
grant, and it must be in the office,
which hasn't really been done since Richie was, I didn't do it with Chris, so I don't know what he did, whether he did it on his own or what,
Well,
but
he submitted billing.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure the timeframe to get.
we used to give them,
A voucher.
storage or
Yeah,
something, like a
yeah.
voucher, you know, so you could see what was happening, and it worked, it worked, so, but you know, the last harbor master didn't do it the same way. Maybe he had a different way, I don't know,
Yeah,
but,
he had X amount of, you know, water pickups and.
Right.
And dock pickups, you know, and that's,
yeah,
they wanted both,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
You know what, okay, just while we're on the subject of sewage,
So,
there was a complaint that came into the Board of Health from a gentleman who was at the state boat ramp. He walked into the Porta-John and apparently he was horrified. And so he didn't call me to complain, he called the Board of Health. So I went over there with Rick Smith and took a look at it, and yeah, it was revolting.
Are they your responsibility or
They are.
state responsibility?
Don't know their own responsibility.
Yeah, because
What was
we
happening was,
placed
they were coming once a week,
Oh,
right? So I called Frades and they said, well, we can come twice a week. And by the way, we're gonna dig you $50 for this emergency call out. So now they come twice a week, and I think that's pretty much solved the problem, because it's,
Yeah,
and we use the same one right outside the shack, same service, same time frame.
yeah.
So I think we kind of solved that,
So
but
it's,
it's cost more money.
We've had some disasters in there, but people walking off the beach, you know? Hey, there's a head, I mean, when you gotta go when you're on the beach, so, you know, and they, I don't know, it's like, how do they do that, you know? I'm like, oh my God, you know?
Oh, and I would be remiss if I did not bring up the pump-out boat itself. I've seen some spongy decks in my long maritime career, but this one is almost like a trampoline.
Maintenance and repairs.
Yeah, I just wonder how many
Yeah.
days, not weeks or months, how many days does this boat really have? It's got a brand new Yamaha outboard. But I think structurally, it's seen better days.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And it,
yeah.
you know, it's got an Edson pump with a big old DC motor that turns it. And we went to the tank to discharge the contents of the pump out boat. And so the hose is up top, and I think it was Andrew was standing there waiting. I hit the switch, and then the 4 bolts that hold the motor down just
Tear it out, yeah.
disintegrated. You had stainless steel and cast aluminum, and
Yeah, there
the
you go.
threads had failed. The whole pump started turning. So anyway, it was back to the dock to repair that. So I've spoken to a couple of folks in town about some ideas as to how to replace it. We do have that Alcar over at Chris's place that I should have had out of there already. I think that boat might be able to be brought back to a serviceable, so
Yeah, yeah.
potentially,
So the pump out boat needs to be replaced.
yes, it does.
Bottom line, that's,
It does.
So the way to really to do that is to see what we have to do to get through the summer and then look for a new boat.
Yeah. But I just think it's so wet.
Yeah,
inside.
you're never gonna dry it
With
out.
Rick and I standing on the port side, the water just kind of comes in the scupper, you know? If you don't have your boots on,
You got water part below the deck and all that stuff too
Yeah.
as well, so. But that's where the CVA, you know, come.
They can help out because they get-
Right,
yeah.
exactly. You know, and they say, hey, these guys are, you know, pumping, you know, so there's a reason why they need a new boat. They're not trying to look pretty, because they're really active, they're doing a lot of pumping. That's
you can't
that's what
make a
Richie
pump out
always.
boat look pretty.
When you need to be pumped out, it looks pretty when it's coming your way though, you know?
All right, so I put that, the pump out boat needs
it's-
replacement, we gotta work on that.
it does.
Any other maintenance repairs?
Maintenance and repairs, well, we just hauled out the aluminum boat this morning at Carl's place. The boat looks terrific. Chris had mentioned that you probably better get it hauled out now. I expected a lot worse. It's in generally very good condition.
That's not
Sinks were
bad.
all solid.
Wash the bottom and whatever, and
Yeah, so Josh is gonna have it ready for us tomorrow morning. They're probably
Okay.
painting it now, so.
Timing was
You know,
perfect, yeah.
we call that Marine One, is that what it is?
Marine One, yes.
Marine One.
The Privateer is Marine 2, and the small Carolina Skiff is Marine 3, and that's a handy little boat. It's
Got it
got a-
hauled and back in the water on, yeah.
Yeah. So we put some new electronics aboard the aboard Marine 2. It had some very dated GPS and whatnot. So I took those out, replaced them all with Humminbird Helix 10. I never was a big fan of Humminbird. I always thought that was kind of recreational stuff, but it's some pretty sophisticated.
They've come up the last couple of years,
Yeah.
yeah, always,
And the price point was pretty reasonable. I was hoping to duplicate the same Garmin setup that's on Marine One.
the
but
prices,
that-
prices have gone
Yeah,
through the roof,
the
Garmin,
price is, yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I get it.
prohibitive, yeah.
You know, when you have a budget of this size, to drop 5,000, not the
it's
smartest
crazy.
first move,
Yeah.
you know?
Me too, okay.
Can I ask a question either for now or later, depending? An update on the buoy removal project?
Oh, you talk about buoy number one outside where the Coast Guard had
Is it leaving?
recommended. I haven't heard a thing about that. Alex. I don't know where they're going with that. There was a cutoff for public comment. I want to say it might have been June 16th, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I haven't heard any noise about how that's going.
I gotta say, even with the GPS, when you see the buoy, it makes a big difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, they want to put an electronic buoy.
Yeah,
It's, I don't know.
not the smartest move.
No.
More catastrophes.
As far as the rest of the equipment goes, we're getting the new 90-horse Yamaha for the relay skiff, the 24-foot Carolina skiff. Just got the word from Drew today that that's ready. It was damaged in transit, so Yamaha wanted pictures and statements.
engine?
Yeah, the engine
engine,
was,
yeah.
yeah. Well, it wasn't serious damage, but because it was brand new, Yamaha wanted certain things done, so that's been finished. So that'll be going over Friday to get that 90 horse installed. We still have Gary Sherman's old aluminum boat there with the Honda on it. Probably needs to get yanked and have the bottom cleaned.
Yes, big, big
Looking a
good,
little dirty right now.
basic maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
A little growth,
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's pretty fuzzy.
okay. Staffing, you can give me a list of the staffing. We don't have to do it in the meeting, you know, and, you know, the addresses, and at least we'll have it on the contact list.
Sure.
Okay. Discussion. I've got some questions from Alec and Carl on police presence on the water.
Okay.
And explain the program, and then funding sources and how, you know, the police are paid at a higher rate, so I don't know what's going on, you know, so at least
So-
give us an overview.
Okay, so my first move, John, was to contact not only Chief Dunn, but Chief Baldwin as well. When you have a budget this small, and I'm talking small, you have to look for other sources of help throughout the town. And when the fire department has, what was it, a $5 million budget, and the police force somewhere in there, you gotta figure they might have a little trickle-down effect. For instance, maybe we could get a couple of AEDs. Because we only had one. We only have one right now.
Okay.
And as
Of what?
an AED,
Defibrillator.
defibrillator.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Someday you'll know what that means.
So I was looking for,
I hope you don't need it.
yeah. Is there one here?
It should,
Camera.
So I was looking for some training from the fire department. Chief Baldwin introduced me to Lieutenant Greg Nunes, who is still waiting for us to show up. Probably get that done this week, just for basic first aid, CPR, AED training, that kind of thing. With the police presence, from the budget point of view, it doesn't cost me a dime.
Okay. So
I can't.
That was the question that I would get. Well, how much is it gonna cost when you see police on the boat or whatever? Okay.
That is Chief Dunn's purview.
That's, so it's out of his budget.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he had some overtime,
So
and
that's-
so he
that's
could
good.
provide the guys. So basically what happens here is that on Tuesday, I need to call Lieutenant Mello and say, we want a guy from 12 to 4, 4 to 8, or whatever combination thereof. If it's gonna be inclement weather, we'd probably say, well, we don't need you this weekend, that kind of thing. So this basically is their marine detail, is how they refer to it. And these are guys, retired guys like Dave and some of the youngsters that come along with us. What we get out of it is not just showing the badge, we got another guy on the boat
Yes.
for nothing. So 2 boats underway with 1 guy on each boat versus 2 boats with 2 crew members on each boat. That's a huge difference. And I'll give you an example. We had a situation with jet skiers on Sunday. There were 5 of them that came over from Fairhaven, believe it or not. They put in at Fairhaven. And they came into Westport Harbor, they were just raising hell. So they went by Boat Beach at a very high rate of speed. Sitting on the beach was Lieutenant McCarthy, and he called it in. And just as we were changing shifts, I heard Dave's radio crackling something about 103 called us in, which is Lieutenant McCarthy. He was on the beach, he saw the whole thing. So Kevin Carter was just coming in with Marine One, and he just headed right out, blue lights, full speed, the whole 9 yards, and he got all 5 of them. Now, if this is calm water, no wind, they're gonna sit there and float. The current was flooding pretty strong at the time, and he was down by Charlton's Wharf with 5 jet skiers kind of swarming around him like bees around a nest. So for Kevin to be able to sight all 5 of them and still maneuver the boat at the same time, keep everything out of harm's way, is almost impossible. But where he had one of the officers, Sean's last name? Sean Munzing, thank you. So Sean was there, he handled all the sighting, all the paperwork, all the tickets, while Kevin just kept the boat stationary. So having that extra guy aboard the boat, policeman or non-policeman, is a big advantage to us. And the ability to do it without taking it out of our little budget is necessary.
Now, is this using reserve police officers, or is it a mix from, you know?
Some of these guys are active, and some like Dave are.
Some are active and some retired or reserve
Yeah, so this is
But
the,
it's a detail,
it's a detail.
right?
Yes.
It's a detail.
So is it coming, if it's coming from their budget, what's not getting done in the police department?
Well, Dave could speak to that better than I could.
Yeah, so there's 9 people on this Marine Patrol.
Okay,
Out of the 9, 2 are retirees. So basically, myself and the other retiree gets the same thing that you pay the assistant harbor masters, you know, in Manchester, and we were on the same rate.
okay,
That would be like a call firefighter, reserve police officer.
okay,
The police officers that are there assigned, it's above and beyond their duty, so they get overtime. So the chief is committed to having somebody there until Labor Day, I believe. So that's the last I heard. So he's got it in his budget, he's figuring out.
yeah, that's adjusted from his budget.
Yeah, it's his budget this year.
Yeah, okay,
What happens in the future, I don't know, but I'm saying this year, it's on him. He's committed, I can tell you right now that he is committed to have a public safety presence on the water.
So, I don't have a problem with extra people. I've heard that these are equipped as police officers, armed, and, you know, with whatever equipment that you wear as a police officer, and they're on the boat. And that I have a problem with, because I think it sends a different kind of message to boaters coming into the harbor. You know, we want to welcome them, not show them a gun, show them that we're...
Well, Alex, if we have done anything to not welcome somebody, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of off-putting, I think. I don't know, what does anybody else think?
Well, if the WPD is walking down Main Road for whatever reason, they're on it.
and then they have a
They're always on us.
Yeah,
Right, but that's on land. I mean, you're authorized to carry as a harbor master.
Yeah, but I see no need to.
My point exactly.
Well, I mean, I just think that's standard operating procedure for a police officer to
I
be on.
understand, not SOP for the harbor. And in fact, haven't heard of any incidents requiring the use of firearms.
Nor have I.
So why are we adding that to the mix?
I don't think we are specifically adding firearms to the mix. I think this is just what police officers come from.
I understand, but it's adding it to the mix at the harbor.
Okay, I mean, point taken. I would say this.
And again, I don't have a problem with extra people. I mean, in that case that you mentioned, clearly it was useful. But it's not on land there's the possibility of, let me rephrase. People don't go on the water on a Sunday afternoon to do crime or misbehave or do injury to others. Everybody's there to have a good time.
Does anybody have any comments on that, other members?
Some of the feedback I've heard as word gets around that the police presence on the boats, it's been mixed. Some people ask, well, what are they searching for? Are they looking to arrest somebody? Or are they? It kind of puts that question, that fear. And I said, from day one, the harbor masters talked about having police presence out there, in some form, just to show the boaters that not that they're looking for something, but yet there's extra presence out there to be to help out, like you said,
Right.
But people, it's new, and with what's going on across the country right now with all raids and this and that, like, oh, wait a minute, now they're taking over our harbor. I said, they're not taking over the harbor, So, it's just that, and it's only been a few people. I've had other comments. It's a good thing. It's a great thing.
Carl, I think the vast majority of the comments that I have heard have been nothing but positive.
Yeah.
And let me add a little context to this. Back in April, Rick Smith and I took the Mass Safe Boaters class over in Fairhaven. This is something that we wanted to do because we want to be able to teach this class ourselves. In order to be able to teach it, you have to be approved by the environmental police to do that. You're going to take a class, you have to assist teaching the class, and then you've got to be vetted, if you will, as a standalone instructor. So that's why we took the class. It was taught by Sergeant McClintock. I think we all remember him, right? Yes, I mean, he's got a bit of a reputation here in West Point. That's a pretty good one.
He does his job.
It was a 2-day class. It was Saturday and Sunday, 8 hours each day. So just like any other boating class, you go down the road with the sea stories. And he would give example after example of boaters behaving badly. You know where they all were? In West Point. All of his examples were in West Point. Really. You can ask Rick Smith. We want to crawl under the desk. So you have to assume, okay, something is amiss here. Maybe we need to just lower the temperature here just a little bit. And I would say, Alex, the example of those 5 jet skiers on Sunday was an example of that. That could have really been something.
I guess my argument is that could have been handled equally well unarmed. That's not a violent situation.
I would agree with that.
Okay. That's all I would say.
So my feeling going into this was, boy, if we could just show the badge, because when you think of harbor masters, you think of, to me, it was always the guy who's...
Popeye.
Yeah.
Well, except that the harbor master has equal authority to the police.
He does, but tell that to the voting public, they don't always buy it. They don't look at
They don't buy it.
policemen on the same, in the same
We
light.
don't agree, me.
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Chair.
was there Sunday on my boat at Crack Rock, and it was never as peaceful on the weekend as compared to that day. I mean, because you saw the boat going back and forth.
Yeah, and kudos
And
to you
it's-
for having the boat.
And the presence is there, and people aren't, you know, I mean, they go a little fast, but that's okay, but I mean, nobody was, belligerent.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm gonna have any kind of a budget issue, it's gonna be gasoline. Because we have burned some gasoline. It costs money to be out there, right?
Yeah.
And to have 2 boats going for 8 hours,
But that's like,
2 days.
that's like filthy porta potties. It's like you gotta find the money.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's funny, but when I'm thinking about it as you're talking, I think the people that live in the river and up the river, you know, that have houses and so forth, you know, East Branch, mostly East Branch, so have thought, you know, have given kudos, you know, to the harbor master having police boats on board, because they hear the jet skiers and the fast boats and the people that are, you know, because it upsets them. They can see all this, and maybe some of the negative comments may have been somewhat from the crowd from Boat Beach, you know. Yeah. Maybe they get a little, you know, hot under the collar because someone's going to be crapping their
But
style.
it's mostly positive.
Crapping their style a little bit, you know.
One of the hot spots.
No, we
Boat
might
Beach and the
be
Red.
recognized. Boat Beach is definitely a hot spot.
Yeah.
North of Shiprock now has become a hot spot because it's so sanded in up there at low tide. People beach their boats just like they do on Boat Beach.
Yeah.
But guys are coming by there just hook
And
it
it's
up.
flying, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got kids on the other side jumping off the rock, and I've seen boats zip through there as well too.
And another hot spot now is Hicks Ridge.
Yeah, you gotta look out your email.
Yeah, that's what I guess we
I'm
need.
all for no wake.
Okay, we'll get 2 brand new ones ready to go.
What?
We get
Dave?
2 brand new ones ready to go.
Dave's got a point.
No, so I just make it, the answer for, obviously, the weapon situation, whatever else, just like, as a police officer, obviously, I wear my weapon all the time. I've gone to the schools, I've gone to cookouts for the kids for their field day, dressed fully in uniform, interacting with people. I've gotten 0 complaints from the water situation. If somebody sees my uniform and what I've been wearing, just so you know, if you've seen any of the social media pictures, whatever, it's shorts, it's my detail shirt, which is that bright yellow shirt out there. They know I'm police, and I wear a life jacket.
Yeah.
No, they know I'm police, and it's not. I am not there to, most of the
Yeah, you're there.
I talk to kids with parents who are under 12 not wearing life jackets. I've had no wake issues, and this is all done alongside with the harbor master in there. He's paying attention to keeping the boat, and I'm talking to the person. We're not rafting up to anybody. We don't have a safe boat. So, you know, obviously, you don't want to cause damage to a fiberglass mold or something else with this big aluminum boat. So what's happening is that he's keeping the boat steady while I talk and tell him, hey, you gotta slow down, you gotta abide by the rules. Let me see, you got life jackets for everybody on the boat, whatever else, they can pull them up, they're perfect. Have a safe day, enjoy the day. So that's what we're doing. Look at the social media presence that's out there from different groups. They're the ones saying, we're not commenting on our own, interactions with these people. These people are get the feedback back to the, I guess you've got a Harbor Masters Facebook page or something like that, so they're doing that.
Yeah.
One thing I can tell you, I've met Bill 3 weeks ago. I've never met him before, whatever else. In the last 15 days, I've seen a harbor master boat, Hicks Bridge area and north. I live north of Hicks Bridge. More times in 15 days than I have in 15 years. So the presence is up, and that's not with me, that's with them. That's Monday to Friday. I've seen people up there, I've been at the Oyster Shack there with my boat. I have a pontoon boat tied up there. A couple of years ago, I'm looking, people are coming by, my boat's bouncing off everything, going, hey, where's Mr. Doing, whatever else. The presence now is everything's calmed down.
I stand corrected.
Everything's calmed down.
I think, one of the reasons is we've gone from, maybe not enough harbor master boat presence out there to what's happening now. And people, it's transitional, so,
I mean, everybody waves at me, and they're waving with all 5 fingers.
I mean, all that stuff is great, David, and I think the most important thing is, what, however you feel about having a gun or having, not having, but having, like Bill said, that extra person on board, Stuff happens very fast out on the water, and one minute everything's great, next minute, there's somebody face down, you need to get to them, and, and look at the people out there. Look at the thousands of people out there.
And just so you know what the other things are, it's just that when I travel with, I bring my own defibrillator, but it's a good, we have.
Oh, I have a bad heart. Bad heart.
But the defibrillator's on that vessel.
Yeah.
And it's also, there's a choking, an anti-choking for infants and babies. There's a first aid kit that we bring with us. There's other things. I also bring, believe it or not, parking tickets. And it's just, I take care of parking issues that are happening at the town wharf, as well as, I got dropped off at, the Nubble and came in that way because what's happening is they're parking there, they see the cruiser pull up, somebody's with a phone, tells everybody to get off, and they stop moving their cars.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's little things we're doing. I went with, Bill's got a partnership with the environmental police, Brendan Quinn, and
Nice kid.
he came with us one day, he took care of the fishing issues, we took care of it. So it's just, that incident that they had up there with the 5 guys with all the 1,000 fish,
Yeah.
you don't think we needed a weapon.
So it's more unruly than it might appear on it.
The good people are sitting there, and just have a nice day, they love it. You know what I'm talking about?
So on the Hicks Bridge thing, one of the things kids do in the summer is jump off bridges.
I think you and I used to do that too, Alex.
Yeah, so we're not getting rid of that, right? All right.
No,
Well, it's not just them jumping off the bridge, it's where they're jumping off the bridge, and it's the boat traffic that goes by in that section. I mean, you're kind of forced in the channel area under the bridge because of all the leftover rocks on the other side. So boaters have to go through there, and kids just have to
they
jump
jump,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
bridges.
I saw him, my wife and I saw him this past weekend, it was like,
One way for you is if the town could swing by,
Oh, I called dispatch day before yesterday.
do it from Lance to say, hey, slow down.
Well, I think the solution there is two parts. Trying to keep the kids from jumping off the bridge would be a really good start. And I spoke to Chris Gonzalez about that this morning. He's going to get some signage up there, or whatever that's worth. And we have two buoys that I reached out to you guys about yesterday, I guess it was.
so did you have two available, or you had, I know they're expensive.
Well, he said he has to.
We got 4 brand new ones just
Okay,
waiting to
good.
go somewhere. And we just got the moorings squared away today.
Okay,
My sister's moving.
So,
okay, all right.
has there been any accidents, injuries
Take care.
from jumping kids?
No,
Okay.
no, but we want to keep it that way, obviously. So if we can take small steps like this to try to keep that interaction from happening.
Because I'm in favor of letting kids jump off the bridge.
Are they gonna post
It's a different place on the bridge.
I can speak to one thing on that, though. So there's two things. One, there's nothing prohibiting, there's no law prohibiting them to jump off
Yeah,
that bridge.
yeah.
There is one for the state bridge.
Yeah,
So you can't jump off the Fontaine Bridge. But
You might not want to.
there is no law, so we'd have to pass a town bylaw or do something else.
Now, how about not having them jump off in that channel, but I mean,
Well, if you.
there's rocks the other way, so.
Outside of that, you might dive and hit your head on a car, you never know.
But that's the problem, because the kids know it's safe there,
Right,
so.
I've actually told them to jump in the channel.
Yeah, because
They're way over on the wrong side, they're gonna hit rocks.
They're gonna hit rocks,
Don't
yeah.
jump there, it's 20 feet here.
or a Chevy or something,
I went to see Richard and Barbara Murphy, I believe it is. They live on the east side of Hicks Bridge, just on the north, that house right on the corner. Went over to visit them yesterday because they came down with some concerns. They see everything that goes on at Hicks Bridge. And Richard, I believe, is in the healthcare business and actually assisted the the fire department ambulance, with some injuries that
Yeah.
happened there in the past. So I went there to just kind of hear them out. And I think, again, a two-pronged approach is really our only approach. Try to keep them off the bridge and try to slow the boats down. So we have 4 brand new mill weight buoys. I can put one north. There's already one south, actually done by Dharma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, so maybe it just needs a swap out with a new, more brighter buoy. You can certainly do that. Beyond that,
you could put a sign on the dock.
Is there any way to limit the width of the channel?
Which dock?
You know, the floats,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Four
The
buoys.
floats for the landing?
possibly,
what?
The floats for the landing?
Yeah, the
Think
floats.
out loud.
I mean, there's islands, you could,
Yeah. That's what it's from.
you know.
Some kid will have it in his bedroom in about 2 weeks, so.
so I take it then you guys object to the placement of this buoy or buoys or,
No.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta,
Safety is, I mean, I've said it before, safety, you act first and then ask permission later, you know? And that's
I
the way it's
thought that
been.
was breaking down bylaws.
Well, safety, you know, and,
Well, when you break it down, what is the harbor master? It's all about public safety.
yeah.
Thank you.
Just happens to be on.
We had an issue upriver, Dave, you know,
Yep.
yeah, okay, and we went through and hashed it all out, and then we still put a buoy there because we had it for safety, you know, but not the whole river, okay? In certain areas that were, you know, dangerous because of the curve, you know? So you have that right.
Yeah, but still, I still want to defer to you
Yeah, but I
guys.
mean, that was good. You ran it by the committee, everybody knew about it.
So those will be up there tomorrow.
Okay.
I noticed there's a new line of buoys blocking off the upper entry of the ramp, so that you can't even pull in there. What's going on with that?
That's been
Like
around for
Jersey
about
barriers or
5 to
something.
6
I mean,
months.
What, no,
in Hicksbridge?
Hicks Bridge.
Somebody put up some.
The dispute between, you mean the dispute between the landowners up on top and the bottom? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's
That's
a
been there
separate
for
issue.
No, there used to be a little
Yeah, yeah.
fence, and you could pull in and park if you wanted, or stop.
Oh, okay, all right.
Now there's like these barriers right at the edge of the road. Seems like that argument's
Yeah.
going downhill.
Well,
Well, they're trying to, they're trying to enforce their point about
Right.
not having, it's their land, they're on their land,
There's
so,
Luke John,
you know.
motion to go home.
I just wanted to get, I mean, we got it on the list, we got, the West Branch channel is still,
Oh, let me tell you about that. So.
I got a question about that, so, yeah,
All right.
let Billy talk.
So you had what Chris always referred to as the 4-pack. 2 reds, 2 greens.
Yeah.
If you look at the depth of the water right now, between those buoys, it's all sand. But if you go basically west, if you kept the greens on your starboard side inbound, you can carry a few feet of water even at low tide. I mean, you can see it just standing
so
there.
we can move the
So
buoys.
what I was thinking of doing, with your permission, is to take the 2 greens and turn them into reds. Right, so it'll keep you off that sanded area, which is currently now the channel. So we can eliminate the 2 reds, or the moorings, I should say. Turn the 2 green buoys into reds, so keeping the starboard inbound and you're fine.
How much water are you saying?
I think you carry 3 feet at low water.
What about if you head to the west even more? Don't you pick up some more water?
Yeah, but you're into the moorings over there, so I actually haven't sounded that, but I do
Yeah.
know there's.
Well, as soon as you hit the moorings, you're at least 5 feet.
Yeah.
But
But if you look at where those green, soon-to-be red buoys are, they're kind of encroaching on the moorings field right there, so
Yeah.
to me, that seems like the simplest,
So
least
you're gonna-
invasive way
You're
to,
gonna switch them to red,
yeah.
okay, all red.
So it'd just be,
Follow it, yeah.
just be 2 reds
Yeah,
coming in.
the
So
2 red,
round
both
those,
greens, yeah.
head up for Canoe Rock and you're fine.
Beyond that's, okay, beyond that is how it used to be up there, right?
Yeah, it's still deeper as you get closer to the flash.
Hopefully this will be temporary.
Yeah.
Well, if you're washing in and out, I think it was
This is the first
done.
time I've seen it
Because
done.
when they're picking
Yeah.
up with the clamshell, the sand, if the
That's
incoming
exactly
tide
right,
was washing
Last time we
through.
dredged, it was all piped, so there was no sand movement around it anywhere, so.
You know, when they picked it up,
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's so bad, Ed only goes by air now.
He helicoptered over to my office the other day. so- Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of this, I got a call from Bob Whitten, who I guess is one of your,
Jim Wynn.
I'm sorry, Joe. And he was wondering, because he's got a sailboat with almost a 6-foot draft, if he could get a mooring established outside of the West Branch, so he doesn't have to do the dance every time. And I said, well, there's a harbor advisory meeting tonight, I'll bring it up to them. Where do I go?
I mean, the issue with that, there's some open areas, but, I mean, next winter it could fill all. And, you know, if anything loses its mooring, it doesn't have a space at all.
See how,
See it, Preston?
now, you're on the committee.
Yeah, we haven't met yet.
So, I mean,
I don't know when we're gonna meet.
yeah, I mean, we talked about last meeting to put a cement block or whatever in a float. And, it was, as I remember the wording, it was, Frankie Ray was gonna give some input, any lost moorings. I don't know if that happened,
Not yet.
over Spindle Rock.
Right.
So we wanted to give preference for any lost mooring. But this kind of falls in the same realm,
Yeah.
okay, because you got a guy with 6-foot draft, you know, and it's been going all right, and he can't get out, I mean, in safely at certain times, so that would seem to be,
Well, I
in
mean,
my opinion, preference.
what does he want to do? What does he want to
He
do?
wants to see if we have a location, a different area.
Up on West Branch, or-
Yeah, he's up in West Branch, he wants to move down to Area B.
Oh, okay, south, okay, on the other
Yeah, in
side,
the main
yeah.
harbor.
But he's got a private mooring,
Yeah.
so is he gonna encroach in the commercial area for Spindle Rock? That's the
Well-
only issue, you know?
I mean, that's the thing, you know, it's.
I mean, you know, if they give permission, I mean, we've got private moorings in the middle of our mooring fields, and, you know, it's,
And me.
you know, so, and, yeah,
And me.
yeah, some of
Well, that makes
these.
it crap.
They're out of the area right now
Yeah.
because they got so sanded in, that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you have to keep moving, spread moorings out and out.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, and now there is some open water, but I think, you know, who knows what's gonna be next year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've got a couple people who, they have docks up there, they're not putting their boats in the water, there's no water up there, you know, so.
Right.
so Jim's approach, what should he do in order to request?
I kinda, the harbor committee should, I mean, the, mooring committee should meet and really decide what we're doing. Are we gonna allow people to stop moving up there?
You, and then we have somebody from Shellfish, right?
I think we did, we were supposed to.
We
be
did, but
somebody,
maybe,
I would say he needs to, you know, write a letter, get a letter to the, you know, to the Harbor Advisory mooring, you know, the mooring group,
Yeah,
and, you know, find out, you know,
the mooring assignment
if he
committee,
can,
and then,
if he can Google Earth the area that he wants to put him in, you know,
Yeah.
so some idea, and then
you
talk
have to
with,
review it.
talk with Spindle Rock and say, you know, do you have room in there, can this guy go in there, or whatever.
Right.
How else are you gonna handle it, really, you know?
So I guess what I'm looking for is clarity on the process. So if someone walks into the shack and says, I want a mooring here,
yeah.
what should they be doing?
Well,
This would be a transfer.
yeah, this is.
This would be a transfer.
He's got a mooring number already, yeah.
Transfers take priority, so that's step one. So some guy that comes in, puts it on the list. Once you feel that everything's settled down for moorings, you can open it up to the committee, or the mooring assignment committee, to look at any requests, first transfers and then new requests from, I'm sure there's people on the waiting list, at some point. And to address if we can grant some more moorings. But that's the mooring assignment
Why
committee.
don't, why don't we have a request form that they could just, current, new mooring, current
We
mooring?
used to have, I
Reason,
don't know
you know.
what happened the last couple of years.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to make one up.
Because
Just
the
basic information.
moratorium was put back because of the dredge project.
Right, right.
And so that's been 2 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, it's just starting to open up.
But just to have something for Bill to say, hey, fill this
It has
form
a
out
request.
and get it back to me.
No,
and,
absolutely. I mean, you gotta have a record of everything.
Right, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, well, talk to the, and things get, everybody gets busy.
I'll look to
so-
see if we have some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I also had a request from Harmony Macumba Zone. This is Paul's daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
She came in and gave me this the other day. She's got a spot, this is like kind of northwest of Crack Rock a little bit, right kind of where the houseboats begin. And she put a little weight down with a milk jug on it for me to go look at and see if there's room there. There certainly is.
Right.
Same process for her.
Yeah, I mean, the standard procedure is she drops a marker and you check it out. And.
Well, the first question you need to ask her is, how's she gonna access that?
No, you can't really ask that.
No? I mean,
No. I mean, if they want to access it from the boat ramp, they can do that.
well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's-
If you're a harbor master, you've gotta have, you have to have an approved,
Parking space?
well, no, just access to the water. I mean, some people can come in, I'm gonna put a mooring out here, can I park here?
Any of the town
No,
landings
you
isn't
can't.
approved. I mean, that's access,
Not town landings,
no?
not town landings. You can't park overnight, you can't.
No, you can't park overnight,
Right,
but you
right,
can-
right, right.
You can
I
park
mean,
during the day.
yeah.
Put a thing in
It's
your-
under
you gotta go-
mooring
then you gotta
mooring and
go-
docking regulations. And so there's a lot of regulations I have to read through, but.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, a process would be to apply for a mooring, okay, and designate the area.
We have a few people who come in.
But there has been people on a list,
Right, right.
so that's,
Right.
is this a new request?
Yes, it would be new.
So,
Yeah.
In area A and C, it's, just, you
No
show them where it is
problem,
and
yeah.
they're good to go. 100 feet from shore.
It's just the B area
Yeah.
that's the issue. I get it. What else we want to talk about, Mr. Chair?
mooring assignments, low no wake buoys, town dock feasibility study, any?
I have, so I know that,
The funds, the last time we were trying to find out how to access the funds to go and, to get the bid.
well, here's where I am with it, John. I have read the, was it GSA, I guess, is the company that Chris had advised me to look into. And I have it here somewhere. So I got this from Chris. This is one of the proposals for the study. And it basically says, this is what we plan to do and this is how we plan to do it. So I've read through this, I understand what they're looking at. Obviously, it's a long-term feasibility study. I know that the bids closed on Friday. I don't know any more than that.
Okay, so we put it out to bid.
Yes.
Okay, so.
And I can't tell you how many responses they had.
I'm just gonna say it went out to bid and it closed Friday,
Yes.
so we'll,
That's correct.
And so what actually went out to bid? The bid to do the feasibility study?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
basically looking for an engineering
Alright.
firm to do the
Yeah.
study. And
Okay.
GZA was one of them, I would think,
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Anything under other business?
Oh, before we get to that, if I could, I would be remiss if I did not throw out some kudos to my guys, and the work that we have done at the state ramp. Take a guess, if you would, as to what percentage of users of that ramp actually pay the pittance $5 fee.
100%, what?
I think I'm the only one that ever put $5 in that.
You know,
When I watched my water, that was it.
So we did some samples, right? So we empty the box out at night when you know there's nobody else. Show up there at 8 o'clock in the morning when all the commercial guys are out, empty out the box, and there might be 10 envelopes, but the ramp is packed, right? Now, I know there are some season passes in there as well, but the number we came up with was between 50 and 60% actually pay the fee. Part of the problem there is there hasn't been any enforcement mechanism to force them to pay. So what we came up with, and Rick Smith and Kevin Carter were very much involved in this, was to take the envelope and put a little red card in it. It's got the town seal on it. So you put the date down, and then you put your registration down, you stick it on your dashboard. So the police come along, they say it's got a red card, he's good, he doesn't have a red card, he gets written up. On top of that, the overflow lot has been used by beachgoers. So they'll park their car in there and just ramble up over the dunes to the beach. I take my dog up there a lot, it's easy to get there. And that was a big problem for Jake McGuigan, and he brought this up at the last selectmen's meeting. We've talked about it actually in the past. How do we keep those people out of there? Because they go up Bridge Road and then they're down at the unprotected side of Horseneck.
Right.
And that's clearly a public safety issue. So what's happened now is that the overflow parking lot is for trailers only.
So that's what it's supposed to.
Yeah, if you go in there with your car and go wherever, you're gonna get tagged. It's just for trailers. We have signage to describe how all of this is working, and we just started putting the red cards in the envelopes now just to see where it gets started. Chief Dunn has some copies of those cards, which he's going to use at roll call so that all his officers are up to speed with the mechanism that's in place.
So, a red card means compliance?
Yeah, so it doesn't pull your envelope out.
Okay.
Inside the envelope is a red card. You gotta fill that out, the registration and the date, stick it on your dash, put the $5 back in, so we know you paid.
That makes sense.
Well, they made a good copy of the red
Before,
card.
you never knew. I always said you had the envelope, I mean, you put it inside the steel box and then nobody knows if you paid or not.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So that's the best we can do. Ultimately, we would like to have a kiosk, like Fall River's got.
Yeah.
So you just swipe your card, you get the receipt, stick it on your dash. We don't have to pull out envelopes. Some of these envelopes have been hilarious.
Right, they're like spaghetti.
There was a menu from a Chinese restaurant. It had a $5 bill folded in it. I don't know why, but it was there.
Trying to clean out his car or some truck or something.
Somebody actually put change in. They tried to make the $5, but apparently didn't have it. They got $4.65. So when I brought the cash to Stella and Vanessa, they're like, "How'd you get the 65 cents?" I don't know. It was just in there. You know? So we would like to eliminate that process because we sit there with stacks of envelopes, just pull them apart and count
No.
$5 bills.
Is there a, Bill, when they buy a season pass, is there a card or something they put on the?
Yeah, there's a little light blue card you just have,
Okay.
just like a beach.
Okay.
It's $45.
Yeah.
It's for resident or non-resident, doesn't
It's
matter.
still a deal.
Stop. How about $5? Is that a deal?
Seems like.
Well, we had that discussion and they would only allow us to go up so much because it's state run.
Yeah.
I remember Chris having to say, to show the man hours that were attached to the ramp, checking the ramp and all that. And
How much of that $5 do we get?
it goes in the waterways fund.
All of it?
Well,
I thought there was a,
I'm not sure. I
that
mean,
went to
but
the
it goes-
state.
I thought it was all, but I could be wrong, Tom.
I think it's
Yeah.
all.
Oh, good, well, that, I mean,
You know, because you get state ramp, and that's going in, I mean, it used to be put in the waterways, but
how, I mean,
we just.
What incentive does the state
controls it,
have?
We just, you know, they put the floats and all that other stuff, and we just monitor and run. You put the porta johns and all that other stuff, yeah. And then,
yeah,
if Dartmouth goes up, we can certainly go up, you know.
yeah.
Well, if we went any lower, it'd be free. I mean, find out.
You know,
Do you know what Dennis Young?
we can find out what Dartmouth ramp is charging per day.
I think it's 7. I'm not sure, but
You know,
the fact of the matter is, this goes part and parcel with everything I explained from the get-go.
Yes.
That whole fee structure is just skewed in the wrong direction.
well, I think if we get the numbers, and we can start working on that. And, you know, certainly in September, October, whatever, and have a plan going forward to show what shortfalls in revenue you're facing this year and anticipate going into next year, and be able to substantiate the reasoning for changing the fees. And certainly we can adjust the waterways fee, and hopefully, my opinion would be a resident, non-resident, that would be the first tackle. And that would be huge, because it's already been defended and passed in other harbors.
Right, right.
Okay, and then we can work on maybe commercial, non-commercial mooring fees increase following years. You know, I think it's a good plan.
I think if you just took a picture of the shack from the south side and said, this is the case that I'm making, this is why I need a fee increase.
Showing the
People
rod,
say,
the rod
okay,
deck on the boat, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that too, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
we're working with CBA.
Yeah, yeah,
Chairman, I
yeah,
got a
yeah.
question, just for the ramp, who maintains that? And the reason I did, I went up there the other day to write some tickets and to check on some things. The striping, the lines, you know, between, that was an issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, boats pulling up with a trailer and the guy's taking a half, one and a
I
half,
don't-
trailer squats,
I don't know who,
signage, you know, those signs of.
Well, Chris Gonzalez probably would know, you know.
Chris, yeah, I would think the highway department might.
Highway put all those new signs up.
In the overflow or on the ramp itself?
Both, they did both,
Okay.
so yeah.
Very good.
I mean, it is state-owned, so.
That's right, that's-
I mean, they,
Yeah, yeah.
we run it, and the state sets the regulations. So,
Well, I know that's one of the reasons we had issues with, you know, Bill's talking about people going to the beach. Police department was having trouble differentiating who was going to the beach and who was launching a kayak. You got a rack on the top, it's boat access.
Yeah.
Kayak's a boat.
yeah,
So we were having, so there were issues they were having, the guy come back and said, I just launched my kayak and I went over fishing. You know, the only way we could tell, the guy had a roof rack, but it's just like, I don't know if
I
he's
mean,
got.
they don't have the roof rack, I mean,
Well, I mean, we got everything from a dinghy, you know, inflatables.
It's tough,
It
yeah.
makes it a little bit of a difficult.
it makes it, yeah, it's a game. So, I mean, it's just trailers now, right?
Just trails.
Yeah.
That's what, as it should be, as it should be, yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a Band-Aid in the sense that at least we have some enforcement mechanism. So when Dave shows up, he knows who to ticket and who doesn't. That's all we can really do. And then throw the signs in there. I think that's as far as we can go.
All right. Anything else?
Good. I think so, I think everything else is.
That was a lot.
Really, I know, yeah.
Longest harbor advisory meeting in a long time.
Well, there's, with what transpired this year, there's a lot to find out what's going on, how it's going, and,
Yeah.
so I think,
Calendar.
we needed
Do we need to meet in August?
I think this year we should, every month so we can hear back from Bill and everybody
I'm just
and
gonna throw out.
help out and all that stuff.
Throw out a day, Tuesday, August 19th.
I'm free.
I don't think I think I'm gonna be sailing this high seas somewhere, but,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going till the 21st.
I'm gonna put
There
it
you
in,
go.
I may be away too on boat, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, Charlton on the day and.
Yeah, I mean, you
put
best we can.
it in.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm looking forward to, in September, I'll be leaving to somewhere I'll talk off camera. And so I wanna get an idea if I'm going, if someone can cover for me in
Yeah.
September, October. So,
I think this year, with so much need in the department and everything,
All right, so-
I think to keep it consistent so that we can make sure next year is gonna be
a little bit better.
better, right. I mean,
Hopefully,
it's a heck of a year this year. I mean, starting,
Now, 5:30, is it good?
I don't recommend it.
Is that good for you, Bill?
I'm sorry, what was it?
5:30 time?
On the 19th.
August 19th, right,
If it's good for you, John, it's good for me.
August 19th,
Yeah, I got it.
okay? Right. Propose the meeting adjourned, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.